Introduction. This was not the roar of a victor. This was a warning cry. From one growing desperate in the kingdom of animals. The lion was not the ruler. He was the one willing to risk the most. A nomadic male lion is a creature of freedom, one of the ultimate predators at this stage of life. Only hunger binds him. This female buffalo had carried her calf for 11 months, when the grass remained thick enough to feed her and shelter the newborn. During the first week, the calf stayed pressed close against its mother's side. But today another presence was waiting with them. Ruawa, Tanzania. This is not the savanna you have seen in every African documentary before. Not the flat Serengeti nor the lush Okavango. Ruawa sits in the transition zone between two branches of the East African Rift Valley. Buffalo attack. Lions fight for survival against the steel wall. Its Mambo woodland has a rhythm during the dry season. It strips away the animal's protection slowly and deliberately. First the blades of grass, then the water. And at the heart of it all, the great Ruawa River. It flows from the northern Iringa highlands, crossing 475 kilometers of cracked earth, nurturing millions of creatures before emptying into Lake Nyasa to the south. During the wet season, it is a lifeline. During the dry season, it is a line between thriving and fading. But Ruawa's boundaries are not just set by nature. The pressure of Tanzania's rapidly growing population, the wide migration corridors that once allowed lions, buffalo, and elephants to roam are narrowing. Some have closed completely. And when a corridor closes, lions have nowhere to retreat during the dry season. They can only move deeper into their shrinking borders. By early July, before the dry season's pressure peaks, Ruawa's elephant herds move along the dry riverbed. Elephants are the ecological engineers of this system. But an elephant well is not just for elephants. For 3 weeks after digging, each well sustained 50 to 70 different species. Even lions' Kumi has been drinking from the elephant wells. Throughout July, the elephants do not know who they did this for. They simply dig because they are thirsty. By early August, following the scent of distant rain from Katavi, the elephant herds begin heading north. The wells they dug are gradually filled in by the dry Mambo air, and at the wettest remaining spot, the region's central water hole, a hippo has arrived, stepped in. Laid down, that is when Kumi lost their watering hole. August daytime temperatures climb to 38, sometimes 40 degrees. At night, they drop to 14. The dry air feels like it could snap. Last night, in the eastern acacia forest, a leopard passed through, quietly alone. Dawn breaks in the dry Mambo Valley. The wild dog pack is on the move. The 7th dry season has driven the impala and reedbuck herds away from the western region. They follow the moisture of the grass, moving to even more distant horizons. And within that vacated space, the wild dogs have shifted their focus. Today's target is a warthog, 80 kilograms. 4 curved tusks, 55 kilometers per hour in short bursts. Not an easy target. But 12 wild dogs do not need an easy target. They need a target they can outsmart. The wild dog success rate reaches 80%. Not because of strength, but through organized patience. They eat as if racing against the clock before an uninvited arrival. Swahili for hunger. 12 of them led by a single male. From a chaser of young calves, he has risen to head of pride. But to understand, you need to understand the species' territorial logic. A lion pride does not roam randomly. Each pride claims a core area, ranging from 20 to 400 square kilometers, depending on prey density. That core is built around 2 things: a stable water source and the prey's migration corridor. In Ruawa, the 3 largest water sources shape 3 prides in Jar. The eastern riverbank, a hub for buffalo and impala Mandonia. The northern acacia forest, home to giraffes Kumi. The central water hole, the open plains. 3 zones, 3 sets of claims during the wet season. The borders between them are clear enough for all 3 to coexist, but in the 7th dry season, when water shrinks to a single point, all bets are off and those borders collapse. At dawn, Jar approaches a Cape buffalo herd on the eastern riverbank, about 200 of them moving to their morning watering hole. Jar tries to single out a young calf. One of Nia's females is met with forced toss aside. Nia retreats. But before the dust settles, Nia spots what only the hungry have the patience to notice. An older buffalo is losing steam, falling behind the herd. Its right leg is limping, and Jar knows. It is not the first time they have seen that wool take shape, not the first time backing down. But Nja also knows what distant observers cannot see. Within that herd of 200, there are older ones, more fragile, pushed to the fringes by the very logic of the buffalo herd. Cape buffalo have a complex social structure. The main herd is not led by the largest male. It is guided by the oldest female, the one who remembers the location of every water source, every escape route, every risky zone the herd has learned over the decades. The breeding males and mature bosses follow the matriarch and outside the main herd. Older non-breeding males form small bachelor groups of 2 to 6, moving slower, drinking later, grazing on the outskirts. That limping older buffalo in Jah is tracking. He is no longer part of the main herd. He is a bachelor bull pushed out by the natural aging process, by the joint where that begins to appear in males over 12 years old, by the competition from younger males. During the breeding season, he still returns to the main herd to drink, but he no longer shares a collective shield like before. JA will not challenge that wall of 200. They will pursue the one on the edge. The Cape buffalo's olfactory system is one of the sharpest senses on the African plains. A buffalo's nose can detect the scent of a predator from 1 kilometer away when standing downwind. They can distinguish the scent of familiar lion from newcomers in the area, and most remarkably, buffalo remember the scent of specific predators. The lead bull is about 900 kilograms of pure muscle and bone. The boss, the fused forehead horn shield that fully solidifies after 10 years of life. Before that, it is soft tissue vulnerable to impact. Once hardened, the boss can withstand the downward clamp of a lion's jaw without being pierced. But the boss is not just for defense. The larger and more symmetrical the boss, the more it signals strong genetics to the females in the herd. A lone male buffalo can send an entire pride of lions up a tree and keep them there for 2 straight hours. A heavy moniker black shadow does not come from their color. It comes from the outcomes of those direct encounters. The injury rate for lions during every clash with a large buffalo herd is 30 to 50%, not because of a single encounter, because when one is pursued, the buffalo herd does not flee. They turn around a collective counter-advance. But Nya knows the one thing the buffalo cannot hide. At the peak of the dry season, buffalo depend entirely on permanent water holes. They come to drink twice a day at dawn and late afternoon. This biological rhythm does not change even under the pressure of predators. And that limping bachelor bull with his aching joints and slow pace will arrive later, stay longer, and leave last. That is what Nja, after many seasons at this very river, has figured out. 4 hours of waiting is not blind patience. This is knowledge accumulated across generations. Nya, you have seen that wall of steel. Yet you hold your ground. That is why you are hungry. And it is also why you are still alive. As the dust settles, the older buffalo is falling behind. His right leg is limping. Nizam lies down in the nearest shade and begins to wait. 4 hours, that is how long Nja spent waiting under the acacia shade. As the temperature climbed to the peak of the day, 40 degrees, during the midday hours, all of Ruawa's large predators power down. No one hunts at noon in August in Ruawa except those who are out of options. In those 4 hours of silence, Nja was not just waiting. They were setting the stage. It was no accident. No one casts a shadow. Lion communication during the staging phase is not a roar, it is a micro-language. The position of an ear, the flick of a tail. These signals are enough to coordinate an encircling formation without making a single sound. The success rate of lions hunting in a pride is 30%. Fatal kick. Lions fight for survival in the giant's kingdom, nearly double that of a solitary pursuit. But that 30% does not come from sheer strength, it comes from positional coordination. From 4 hours of finding the right spot, waiting for the right moment, and engaging the right target. 2 in the afternoon, the older buffalo stepped away from the herd for its second drink of the day. 7 minutes to secure and hold, before the buffalo herd's counter-charge answered the call. 7 minutes is enough to step back from the brink. Jar released their hold and retreated as the buffalo herd returned. In the dust and chaos, a small calf lost its bearings. It stood at the water's edge alone. It did not know it was just left without a mother. It only knew its mother's scent was fading in the wind. Ruawa offers no sympathy for those standing alone just above. The August sky is never truly empty. White-backed vultures are the most common and vital species in the Ruawa ecosystem. Their vision, with eyes possessing 5 times the photoreceptor density of humans, allows them to spot a fallen animal from 15 kilometers away. And in the dry, clear air of Ruawa in August, they can see even further. But they do not just search for a meal with their eyes, they read each other. This is an information cascade, news spreading without a sound, without a direct signal, simply through the behavior of others. But they circle clearly enough for anyone with a line of sight within a 15-kilometer radius to read the message. To the north, beneath the acacia shade, a male from the Madonna Pride raised his head. He saw nothing firsthand. The vultures do not belong to Inja or Madonia Vultures or Ruawa's only public broadcasting system, owned by no one, readable by all. Nearby at the western waterhole, a hippo was soaking in the mud. On its back were 6 oxpeckers. The hippo had no idea this was happening. The hippo could not shoo them away. Its skin was too thick, not flexible enough to brush them off. That is Ruawa, a place where no relationship is exactly as it seems. The scent of Enja's prize spread quickly in the dry air. Spotted hyenas ate of them. They were not waiting. In Africa, female spotted hyenas are larger than the males. A rare large mammal where females entirely dominate the social structure. A hyena clan is led by an alpha female, often boasting dozens to hundreds of members. But their pursuit teams run in smaller groups of 8 to 20. They possess the strongest bite force among African land predators. Hyenas can digest the tough parts no other species can process. They do not compete for the same cuts. They make the most of what remains. They are neck-and-neck contenders. Naya had to eat fast. The hyenas were getting restless over the scent of dinner. And to the north, Madonna had just started to move, not at night as usual, this time under sun. Madonna is the pride of the shadows, but today they would challenge the tallest giants of the Ruawa. Plains in broad daylight, and that is what makes this pursuit unlike anything seen before. 4 kilometers away at the eastern riverbank waterhole, where the buffalo herd still resides, a lioness from the Nja pride lies in wait within the low brush. She did not come to hunt buffalo. She came because this is the only remaining water source, and the hungry have no choice in their ambush location. It moves with its own purpose to quench its thirst. But unfortunately, it has charged straight into the ambush zone. The warthog has no idea she is there. This is opportunistic instinct. The prey has walked right into the hunter's grasp. The chase erupts. In Ruawa, this is the rarest kind of luck. It fell right into her lap. The buffalo herd still stands there, unaware, unhearing. Madonna 4 young males. But Madonna is not an ordinary pride. In the lion world, there are 2 entirely different social structures. The pride, a traditional group of blood-related females, and 1 to 3 mature males governing the territory, and a temporary alliance of young landless males, usually 2 to 6 of them, roaming together until they are strong enough to claim an existing pride. Mamdonia is a coalition. A coalition is often bolder. With no cubs to protect, they only need to feed themselves. That is why Madonia is ready to do what no pride with cubs would dare. Pursue a giraffe in broad daylight. Why during the day? Because at the peak of the dry season, giraffes are forced to move to water during daylight. But daytime means the sun, and the sun is Madonna's adversary. A giraffe's heart weighs 10 kilograms, pumping blood up a 6-meter neck, with a diastolic pressure twice that of a human. To prevent brain vessels from bursting when lowering its head, the giraffe has a specialized jugular vein valve system, closing when the head is below the heart to manage the backflow pressure. An evolutionary mechanism so refined that aerospace engineers studied it when designing G-suits for fighter pilots. Ossicones of giraffes' horns are not true horns. They are calcified cartilage covered in skin and hair. Males use them to spar those necking battles. During the breeding season, swinging their necks like sledgehammers, crashing the ossicones into their rival's body. An older male has worn and bald ossicones at the tips, the mark of decades of sparring. The lone older male giraffe today, bald ossicone, slow pace, has seen action through many breeding seasons. A giraffe has one major vulnerability in its entire life, and that vulnerability happens every day. Unavoidable when drinking water. Madonna knows this. Every lion that pursues a giraffe knows this. But today is not the time to drink. Today is daytime, the terrain is open, and the giraffe's 320-degree vision is fully active. The shadows of 6 lions moving across the bare, dry earth are clearly visible from 800 meters away. From a giraffe's eye level of 6 meters, no blind spots. Madonia is forced to make their move sooner than planned. The youngest male lion, 2 years old, lacking the experience to read the distance, approaches from the wrong angle. Madonna, the daylight does not belong to you. The young lion had run for 2 full seasons. Today he pays a piper for a misplaced step under the sun. But that older giraffe has been running all afternoon. As the sun sets, he comes to a halt. His breathing grows heavier. His front legs tremble slightly. Madonia sees it, and the darkness is returning, belonging to them. From 40 degrees at the peak of the day, in just 8 hours, Ruawa at night touches 14 degrees. The dry Mimbo air does not hold heat, and as the temperature falls, Madonia's muscles change. Enzymes operate more efficiently. Lactic acid builds up slower. After a motionless afternoon preserving every calorie, Madonia steps into the night, with cooled and recovered muscles. That older giraffe is still there, exhausted, having not eaten, having not drank enough. The tapetum lucidum, the reflective layer behind a lion's retina, allows them to use minimal light 6 to 8 times better than human eyes. The mechanics light passes through the retina, bounces back from the tapetum layer below, and passes through the retina a second time, doubling the chance to activate photoreceptor cells. Below 50 lux, the light threshold past 8 p.m., the giraffe's 320-degree vision collapses. Eyes evolved for the daytime for broad light and distant horizons. Cannot compensate for the lack of light. The detection distance shrinks from 800 meters to just a few dozen. The tables have completely turned. The giraffe's body is too massive and its neck too flexible for a lion to hold. An adult giraffe provides about 250 to 300 kilograms of usable meat, sustaining 4 lions at 7 kilograms each per day for 5 days. In theory, they have their fill, but cannot drag the rest away due to its sheer size, leaving it behind to find a place to rest. A fallen giraffe attracts what it always attracts, but not all at once and not all for the same reason. First, the vultures, this time not just 6 of them. But vultures are not a uniform block. At a large prize like a giraffe, there's a clear hierarchy. The lappet-faced vulture, the largest and most assertive species, arrives first. Whiteback vultures arrive next. Making up the largest numbers, they consume the soft tissues. Hooded vultures, the smallest of the bunch, arrive last. 3 species, 1 prize. Black swirls tightening to the north. The spotted hyenas arrive later. 12 of them, a larger group than the one in jar encountered at the riverbank. Giraffe can sustain 40 to 60 hyenas for 24 hours, and hyenas call for backup with whoops audible from 5 kilometers away. By the second morning, as the hyena numbers grow and Madonia's energy wanes, they yield the tail and the vitals. Ruawa is shrinking down to a single point. 3 days Kumi has not had a drop to drink. Their central watering hole, a realm held through 7 dry seasons, now belongs to the hippo. Do not overlook the crocodiles. Deadly drought, ultimate battle for survival in the unforgiving wild. BOS never used 51 BC 0C785682F6808157919739334 user. An unseen hierarchy is at play. Hippos claim the surface. Crocodiles control the water's edge, where any animal coming to drink must lower its head, dropping its guard for just a few seconds. Lions Kumi stand on the 3rd tier, the furthest edge, looking into a system where 3 top predators are operating simultaneously within a 200-meter radius. In those 3 days, the young ones lose hydration first in the Ruawa dry season. Some little ones simply run out of time before the rains arrive. Kumi has waited 3 days. 3 days of looking at water without being able to drink. Hippos do not negotiate. Hippos do not recognize your concept of a kingdom. To the hippo, this is as tonight. The scent of a downed giraffe from the north is drifting closer, and JA is on the move. Madonia is heading west, and Kumi is still standing by the edge of the watering hole. Ruawa is shrinking down to a single point. Something is shifting in the air. It is not the temperature. It is not the wind. Atmospheric pressure. In the 12 to 24 hours before Tanzania's first seasonal rain, the atmospheric pressure drops noticeably. This is a final stretch of the dry season. Kumi's females know exactly what to do. As the zebra herd approaches the final waterhole, they must hunt. Hunt for sustenance and hunt to quench their thirst. The dry season also puts all creatures on edge. The lionesses will let the male impalas decide who comes out on top. They want zebra, much larger prey, and they must succeed.